Have you ever wondered what makes a man think about you long after you've left the room? Is it your beauty, your charm, or the way you dress? Perhaps those things can catch his eye, but to capture his mind and leave a lasting imprint on his heart, the secret lies in something far more profound: how you speak to him. Let's be honest, most women fall into the trap of thinking they need to impress a man by being overly accommodating or constantly available. Others overcompensate by sharing too much, too soon, hoping vulnerability will create instant intimacy. These are common misconceptions, and they often lead to disappointment. But what if I told you there's a better way? A way to captivate his thoughts without losing yourself in the process. In this video, we'll explore the powerful techniques high-value women use to make a man miss them deeply. These aren't manipulative tricks or shallow tactics. Instead, they're rooted in authenticity, emotional intelligence, and something I like to call dark stoic psychology. These techniques will transform how you interact with men by showing you how to create an emotional pull so strong that he can't help but want more. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll have a roadmap to not only make him miss you, but to make him remember you, your presence, your energy, and the way you make him feel. Let's start with a secret that is as ancient as it is powerful: mystery. 1. The mystery factor. Keep him intrigued. Picture this: you just met someone who seems perfect on paper. He's charming, attentive, and full of stories. But here's the twist: after just 1 or 2 conversations, you feel like you already know everything about him. There's no intrigue, no unanswered questions, no reason to wonder what he's like when he's not around. The excitement fades and you move on. Now flip the script. Imagine meeting someone who offers just enough to captivate you, but holds something back, making you wonder about the layers beneath the surface. That's the power of mystery. High-value women understand that being slightly elusive isn't about playing games. It's about creating a sense of depth and excitement that keeps a man coming back for more. How does this work in practice? It begins with how you communicate. When he asks you about your life, resist the urge to spill everything in one breath. Instead, give him a glimpse, a carefully chosen detail that sparks his curiosity. For instance, if he asks, "What do you do for work?" avoid the typical rundown of your daily tasks. Instead, say something like, "It's a little unconventional, but I absolutely love it. What about you?" This response does 2 things. It shifts the focus back to him, while leaving a question mark in his mind about your life. That question mark is gold. It's what keeps his mind circling back to you. Now think about it. People are naturally drawn to things they don't fully understand. It's a psychological phenomenon. When something is left unresolved, our brains crave closure. By sharing just enough to intrigue, but not enough to satisfy, you become unforgettable. But mystery isn't only about words. It's about presence. When you're with him, how do you carry yourself? High-value women know that. Subtle gestures speak volumes. A warm but fleeting smile, maintaining steady eye contact, or pausing thoughtfully before answering a question. If all of these add layers to your persona, it's not about withholding who you are. It's about showing him there's more to you, more to discover. Now let's address a common fear. Won't being mysterious make me seem distant or uninterested? The answer is no. When done right, mystery amplifies connection because it creates a space for him to invest emotionally. Imagine a conversation where you leave just enough unsaid that he finds himself replaying your words later, trying to piece together the puzzle. That mental engagement is the foundation of attraction. The art of mystery also involves restraint. In today's world, oversharing has become second nature. Social media encourages us to lay our lives bare for everyone to see. But high-value women know the power of selective sharing. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you signal to him that not everything about you is readily available. This scarcity creates value. It makes him treasure the moments when you do open up. A key part of mystery is mastering the use of silence. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it's also one of the most powerful tools in communication. High-value women aren't afraid to let a moment of quiet linger after a thought-provoking statement or question. For example, if you ask him, "What's the most exciting thing you've done this year?" and he answers, "Let the silence hang for a moment." That pause compels him to elaborate, deepening the conversation naturally. It also gives him the impression that you're truly listening, which is incredibly magnetic. Finally, let's talk about timing. Mystery isn't just about what you say or don't say. It's also about when you say it. If you're too quick to respond to texts, too eager to meet up, or too available in general, you eliminate the tension that makes him miss you. By pacing your interactions and letting him wonder when he'll hear from you next, you create a push-pull dynamic that keeps the connection alive. So how can you start practicing this today? Begin by asking yourself these questions. Do I share too much too soon in conversations? Am I allowing enough silence for him to process and respond? Am I giving him the space to miss me? Or am I always available? If the answer to any of these questions is no, you have an opportunity to shift the dynamic. Remember, mystery isn't about deception. It's about creating space for him to explore who you are and at what makes you unique. When you master this, you'll notice something remarkable. He won't just miss you when you're gone, and he'll start to look forward to your presence, craving the moments when he gets to peel back another layer of the enigma that is you. Ready to explore the next layer of connection? Let's dive deeper into the emotional impact that makes every interaction unforgettable. Stay with me, because this is where the magic truly begins. 2. Emotional impact, making every conversation memorable. What do you think lingers in a man's mind long after a conversation ends? Is it the words you said or the emotions you stirred? If you've ever replayed a conversation in your head because it made you laugh, touched your heart, or sparked your imagination, you already understand the power of emotional impact. This is where high-value women shine. They don't just talk, they create experiences. To make a man miss you, it's not enough to engage him in casual small talk. You have to take him on an emotional journey. Think of each conversation as an opportunity to create highs and lows, moments of laughter, and sparks of deeper connection. High-value women know how to steer a conversation beyond the surface, making it a memorable experience he'll want to relive again and again. But how do you do this? Let's start with the questions you ask. A high-value woman doesn't waste time with cliches like, "How was your day?" Instead, she dives into topics that matter. She might ask, "What's the most exciting thing you've done lately?" Or, "If you could wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be? And why?" These questions ignite his imagination and make him feel something beyond the ordinary. They invite him to open up and share more of himself, creating a bond that feels special and intimate. So when he answers, listen not just to his words, but to the emotions behind them. If he talks about a goal he's passionate about, acknowledge his enthusiasm with something like, "I can tell that really lights you up. It's inspiring to hear you talk about it." This shows him you're not only listening, but seeing him. People crave this kind of recognition, and it leaves a deep impression. Now let's talk about storytelling, one of the most overlooked tools of emotional impact. When you share a story, don't just recount the facts, invite him into the experience. For example, instead of saying, "I went hiking last weekend," paint a vivid picture. "Last weekend, I hiked this trail that felt like it led straight into the clouds. By the time I reached the top, The view took my breath away. It was one of those moments where you feel completely alive. A story like this doesn't just inform, it evokes emotion. Your story should have a purpose. It can reveal something about your values, your adventurous spirit, or even your vulnerabilities. The key is to strike a balance, show enough to let him feel connected to you, but hold back just enough to leave him wanting more. Remember, this ties back to the mystery we discussed earlier, but storytelling isn't just about your life. It's also about creating shared moment. When he shares something meaningful, respond in a way that deepens the connection. For instance, if he tells you about a childhood memory, say, "That's such a vivid memory. I can almost picture it. How did that experience shape who you are today?" This kind of response takes the conversation to a deeper emotional level, making him feel understood and valued. There's another element to emotional impact that's often overlooked: playfulness. Attraction thrives in moments of lightness and fun. Tease him in a way that feels natural, like playfully challenging something he says. "You really think pineapple belongs on pizza? I don't know if we can be friends anymore." Laughter creates an emotional high, and emotional highs are addictive. A high-value woman also understands the art of compliments. But here's the secret: don't just compliment his appearance, compliment his character. Saying, "I admire how passionate you are about your work," or "I love how you always find humor in things," will resonate on a deeper level. These kinds of compliments show that you're paying attention to who he is, not just how he looks, and that makes them unforgettable. As you create these emotional moments, don't underestimate the power of strategic pauses. Sometimes, the most impactful thing you can do is let a statement or question linger. If, for example, after asking him, "What's one thing you've always wanted to do, but haven't yet?" pause and let the silence draw him in. That space gives him time to reflect and creates a moment of intimacy that words alone can't achieve. The goal of every conversation isn't to impress him, it's to make him feel something. When you do this successfully, he'll start associating you with those feelings. He'll remember how you made him laugh, how you encouraged him to share, and how you saw him in a way others rarely do. Those emotional experiences are what make him miss you when you're not there. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a conversation where you felt deeply connected to someone? What made it stand out? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you're finding these insights valuable, don't forget to like this video so more people can discover it. Your engagement helps keep this channel growing and brings us closer to building a community of high-value women, supporting one another. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're diving into the importance of first impressions and how to set the stage for desire from the moment you meet him. This next secret will change the way you think about introductions forever. Let's keep going. 3. The power of first impressions, setting the tone for desire. Have you ever considered how much power lies in the very first few moments you meet someone? The way you look, move, and speak in those initial seconds can determine whether a man remembers you or forgets you entirely. It's not just about the words you say, it's about the energy you bring into the room and the subtle signals you send. High-value women understand that a first impression isn't about being flashy or trying to impress. It's about creating an atmosphere of intrigue and warmth that lingers long after the initial encounter. When done right, a powerful first impression doesn't just catch his attention, it sets the tone for everything that follows, laying the foundation for him to think about you long after you've said goodbye. So, what makes a memorable first impression? It all starts with confidence, and confidence is magnetic. It can draw someone in before you even say a word. A high-value woman walks into a room with her head held high, her shoulders back, and her movements deliberate. She doesn't rush or fidget. Instead, she takes her time, as though she belongs exactly where she is. This kind of poise communicates volumes. It says, I am comfortable in my own skin. I know my worth. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't something you can fake. It's rooted in how you feel about yourself. If you believe you're bringing something valuable to the table, others will feel it too. This is where the principles of Stoicism come into play. By mastering your emotions and centering yourself, you can exude calm, unshakable confidence, even in unfamiliar situations. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about embracing a mindset of control and grace under pressure, a quality that's irresistibly attractive. Once your presence speaks confidence, the next step is to engage him emotionally from the very start. High-value women understand that it's not about impressing him with witty one-liners or flashy anecdotes. It's about how you make him feel in those first moments. One of the most effective ways to do this is through the tone of your voice. A warm, steady tone can make you seem approachable and genuine, while speaking at a measured pace signals that you're composed and in control. Rushing your words or speaking too loudly can come across as nervous or overeager. Instead, pause between sentences, letting your words sink in. This unhurried pace creates an air of self-assurance that's hard to ignore. Body language also plays a crucial role. When you meet him, make eye contact, not too much that it feels intense, but enough to show that you're present and engaged. A genuine smile, paired with a light tilt of your head when he speaks, conveys openness and interest. These subtle gestures communicate warmth and attentiveness, qualities that immediately set you apart. And let's not forget the power of touch. Something as simple as a firm, confident handshake or a light touch on the arm, creating a sense of connection. A simple touch on the arm during conversation can create a sense of connection. These small, intentional gestures are often more impactful than words because they speak to his subconscious, creating a sense of intimacy without being overt. But here's where most women get it wrong. They try too hard to impress. They think a first impression needs to be loud, dazzling, or filled with clever remarks. High-value women know that less is often more. The goal isn't to overwhelm him with your brilliance. It's to make him curious enough to want to know more. This ties back to the power of mystery. Your first impression should leave a subtle but lasting imprint, something he can't quite put into words, but can't stop thinking about. One way to achieve this is to focus on how he feels. During the interaction, people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel good about themselves. By showing genuine interest in what he's saying, asking thoughtful questions, and reflecting his energy, you create a positive emotional experience that he'll associate with you. For example, if he shares something personal, acknowledge it in a way that feels authentic. That's such an interesting perspective. I've never thought about it like that before. This shows that you're not just listening, but also engaging with his thoughts and emotions. It's also important to recognize the power of leaving a little undone. When the conversation feels like it's starting to wind down, resist the urge to keep it going, just to fill the silence. Instead, exit gracefully, leaving him on a high note. For instance, you might say, I've really enjoyed talking with you. I'd love to continue this another time. This signals that you value your time, while also creating anticipation for the next interaction. First impressions are about creating a moment that feels both effortless and intentional. They're not about dazzling him with a performance or trying to predict what he'll like. They're about showing up as your most authentic, confident self. When you approach first meetings with this mindset, you're not just making a great impression, you're planting the seeds of desire. And here's the best part. When you get this right, you'll notice something remarkable. He'll start replaying those first moments in his mind, the warmth of your smile, the confidence in your voice, the way you made him feel, seen and appreciated. This is the beginning of something powerful, and it all starts with a single, unforgettable moment. Now that you've set the stage for desire, let's explore how to keep that energy alive by mastering the art of emotional distance. This next principle will show you how absence can make his heart grow fonder. 4. The push-pull dynamic, the art of absence. Have you ever noticed how much we crave what we can't have? It's a universal truth. Scarcity creates value. In the world of attraction, this principle is the foundation of what makes someone truly unforgettable. High-value women understand this instinctively. They know that while their presence is powerful, their absence can be just as impactful, if not more so. Here's the paradox of human connection. We often appreciate someone most when they're not there. It's in the moments of silence, in the spaces between interactions, that longing is born. The push-pull dynamic, being emotionally available at times and intentionally distant at others, is one of the most effective ways to make a man think about you, miss you, and crave more of your presence. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. The push-pull dynamic is about creating a connection that keeps things exciting and alive. Too much push can make you seem overbearing, while too much pull can make you seem uninterested. The magic happens in the balance. It starts with how you show up when you're together, when you're present. Be fully present. Give him your attention. Engage with him deeply, and let your warmth shine through. In these moments, you're creating an emotional high, one that he'll carry with him long after you part ways. This is the push, the moment where you let him experience the fullness of your energy and personality. But here's the secret. After that high, you step back and create space. This is the pull. Instead of bombarding him with texts, calls, or plans to meet up again, you allow him to miss you. You give him the chance to reflect on the connection, to replay your conversations in his mind, and to wonder when he'll see you next. Why is this so effective? Because it taps into the psychology of anticipation. When something is always available, it loses its allure. By stepping back, you create scarcity, which increases the perceived value of your presence. This principle is rooted in Stoicism, the idea of being comfortable with solitude and self-control. High-value women aren't afraid to retreat into their own world because they know their worth isn't tied to constant validation. Let's put this into practice. Imagine you've just had an amazing conversation with him, one filled with laughter, meaningful exchanges, and undeniable chemistry. The next day, instead of sending him a message saying, "I had such a great time last night," you wait. You let him be the one to reach out. If he doesn't, that's okay. Your value isn't diminished by his response. You remain centered, calm, and self-assured, qualities that make you even more magnetic. This doesn't mean you play hard to get in an obvious way. It's not about ignoring him or being aloof. Instead, it's about maintaining your independence and not overextending yourself. For example, if he texts you in the evening, you don't have to reply immediately. Taking a few hours or even until the next day to respond can create a sense of anticipation that deepens his interest. The push-pull dynamic, the art of absence. When you wait until the next day to respond, it signals that you have a full, rich life of your own. This isn't being manipulative, it's being authentic. Now let's address a concern many women have when practicing the push-pull dynamic. What if he loses interest during the pull phase? It's a valid question, but here's the truth. If he loses interest simply because you're not constantly available, he was never truly invested in the first place. A man who values you will appreciate the balance of closeness and distance. In fact, the pull phase often deepens his attraction because it gives him the space to realize how much he enjoys your company. Absence also creates a sense of mystery. When you're not constantly in his life, he starts to wonder about you. What are you doing? Who are you with? What's on your mind? This curiosity is powerful. It keeps his thoughts focused on you and builds a sense of longing. It's the emotional equivalent of planting a seed and allowing it to grow in his subconscious. Another element of the push-pull dynamic is knowing when to re-engage. Timing is everything. If you step back for too long, the connection can fade. But if you return at just the right moment, you reignite the spark with even more intensity. For example, after a few days of not reaching out, you might send him a thoughtful message that references something specific from your last conversation. This shows that you are listening and adds a personal touch, making your return feel intentional. The beauty of this approach is that it allows you to remain in control of your emotions and actions. You're not chasing him or trying to force a connection. Instead, you're creating an environment where attraction can thrive naturally. This is the essence of dark Stoic psychology, harnessing the power of restraint and emotional balance to draw others toward you. It's also important to remember that the push-pull dynamic isn't just for the early stages of a relationship. Even in long-term connections, maintaining a balance of presence and absence keeps things fresh. When you spend time apart, you're not only giving each other room to grow individually, but you're also creating opportunities for reconnection. So the next time you find yourself wanting to reach out to him, pause and ask yourself, am I giving him the space to miss me? Am I stepping back enough to let him reflect on our connection? Am I staying true to my own life and interests, even as I build this relationship? By embracing the push-pull dynamic, you're not only creating a sense of longing, you're also showing him that you're a woman who values herself and her time. And that, more than anything, is what makes you unforgettable. Now that you've mastered the art of absence, let's dive in to how to re-engage with purpose and depth. This next principle will show you how to reignite the connection and make it even stronger. 5. Re-engaging with depth. Thoughtful follow-ups. Absence, as we've seen, can create space for a man to miss you, but re-engaging is where the magic happens. This is your opportunity, not only to reignite the spark, but to deepen the emotional connection and make him crave more of your presence. High-value women understand that reaching out isn't just about sending a simple text or asking, "How are you?" It's about making every interaction purposeful and meaningful. Or re-engaging thoughtfully shows that you're not reaching out just to fill the silence. Instead, you're bringing something valuable to the table, nurturing the bond you've already started to build. This approach taps into both his emotions and his intellect, keeping you on his mind in a way that's magnetic and unforgettable. So how do you do this? Timing is everything. One of the most common mistakes women make is re-engaging too soon, before he's had a chance to miss them. Remember, absence creates anticipation. Give him enough space to feel that absence, but don't wait so long that the connection fades completely. A couple of days after your last interaction is often the perfect window. It's just enough time for him to reflect on how much he enjoyed your presence without feeling neglected. Avoid generic communication. When you do reach out, avoid the trap of generic surface-level communication. A high-value woman doesn't just say, "Hey, what's up?" She creates a conversation that's thoughtful and engaging. One of the best ways to do this is by referencing something specific from your last interaction. For example, you could say, "I've been thinking about what you said the other day about topic. You made such an interesting point. What made you see it that way? How did that event situation you mentioned turn out? I was curious to hear what happened. This type of re-engagement shows that you are truly listening and that you value the substance of your conversations. It also brings back the emotional resonance of your last interaction, reminding him of how good it felt to talk to you. Create emotional moments. Re-engagement isn't just about asking questions. It's about creating an emotional moment. Share something that evokes curiosity or connection. For instance, I came across something today that reminded me of what you said about topic. It made me laugh. Want to hear about it? I keep thinking about that story you told me about, specific memory. It really stuck with me. It's such a great example of your unique qualities. Statements like these achieve two things. They make him feel seen and valued, and they give him a reason to continue the conversation. Storytelling and playfulness. Another powerful re-engagement tool is storytelling. If you've had an interesting or meaningful experience since you last spoke, share it with him in a way that invites him into the moment. For example, instead of saying, "I went to a great restaurant last night," you could say, "I went to this little hidden gem of a restaurant last night. It had the coziest vibe and the most amazing food. It felt like the kind of place you'd really enjoy." Do you like discovering spots like that? This approach is engaging because it's not just about you. It creates an opportunity for him to connect and share something about himself. Don't underestimate the power of light. Playful communication, humor, and banter can create emotional highs that deepen attraction. For example, "So I tried your favorite hobby yesterday, and let's just say it did not go as planned. I'm sure you would have been much better at it." By keeping the tone light and fun, you're making the conversation enjoyable and memorable, which strengthens the emotional connection. Reinforce your high value. Qualities re-engagement is also a time to subtly reinforce the qualities that make you a high-value woman. Show him that you have a full, vibrant life of your own. For instance, if he asks what you've been up to, share something exciting or meaningful, like, "I've been working on this project that I'm really passionate about. It's been keeping me busy, but it's so rewarding." This shows that you're not waiting around for him to fill your time. Instead, you're inviting him to be part of an already fulfilling life, which is incredibly attractive. Emotional balance. Lastly, remember the power of emotional balance. While it's important to re-engage with warmth and depth, it's equally important not to come across as overly eager. This ties back to the principles of dark Stoic psychology. Restraint and self-assurance. By amplifying your presence and re-engaging from a place of confidence and authenticity, you naturally draw him closer without needing to push. Now let me ask you, have you ever experienced a moment where someone reached out to you in a way that felt truly thoughtful? How did it make you feel? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear about those moments that stayed with you. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who could use these insights. Your support helps grow our community of women, learning to embrace their value and build connections that last. In the next part, we'll bring everything together by exploring how to maintain this dynamic over time, ensuring that he doesn't just miss you, but sees you as someone truly unforgettable. Let's dive in to the final piece of the puzzle. 6. The power of absence. Understanding the long game. Absence is often misunderstood in relationships. Some people view it as a risky move. What if he forgets about you? What if the connection fades? High-value women know better. They understand that absence isn't about disappearing or creating doubt. It's about giving space for reflection, desire, and appreciation to flourish. Think of absence as the pause in a melody that makes the music even more beautiful. It's in these pauses that he starts to replay your conversations, remember your energy, and realize how much he enjoys having you in his life. When used wisely, Absence isn't a tool for manipulation. It's an invitation for him to see your value more clearly. How absence builds a stronger connection. Absence works because it leverages the psychological principle of scarcity. When something or someone is always available, it's easy to take them for granted. But when that presence is less frequent, it feels more special. High-value women know that being overly available can dilute their impact. By stepping back occasionally, they allow their presence to carry greater weight when they do engage. The key is in the quality of your absence. It's not about creating distance to test him or make him chase you. It's about maintaining your own life, passions, and independence. This ties deeply into Stoicism. A Stoic woman is grounded in her own world. She doesn't seek validation through constant interaction, but finds fulfillment in her own pursuits. This self-assuredness is what makes her magnetic. Practicing absence effectively. So how do you practice absence effectively? It starts with understanding timing. After an engaging interaction, whether it's a conversation, a date, or even a text exchange, resist the urge to immediately follow up. Instead, let the moment breathe. This gives him time to process the emotions he felt when he was with you. It's in these moments of stillness that appreciation grows. During your periods of absence, focus on living your life to the fullest. Invest in your hobbies, spend time with friends, and pursue your passions. When he sees that you're fully engaged in your own life, it not only makes you more attractive, but it also reinforces the idea that your time and attention are valuable. He'll start to realize that being part of your world is a privilege, not a guarantee. Absence sparks curiosity. Absence also creates space for curiosity. When you're not constantly in touch, he'll naturally start to wonder, what's she doing? Who's she with? What's on her mind? This sense of curiosity is powerful. It keeps his thoughts focused on you, even when you're not around. However, absence alone isn't enough. The way you re-enter his life after a period of distance is just as important. Re-engaging with purpose. When you do reach out, make it intentional. Instead of sending a generic message like, "Hey, how's it going?" Send something that shows you've been paying attention. For example, "I just remembered something you said the other day. It's been on my mind. I loved your perspective on it. I saw something today that made me think of you. How's everything going with the topic you mentioned?" Those types of messages remind him of your presence in a way that feels meaningful and thoughtful, reinforcing the bond between you. Connections. These strategies aren't about manipulation or playing games. They're about elevating how you interact with others and creating real, authentic relationships. By being intentional, thoughtful, and self-assured, you're not just attracting attention, you're building deeper, more meaningful connections that will stand the test of time. Every tool we've discussed, from cultivating mystery to engaging emotionally and understanding the push-pull dynamic, is about creating a dynamic where your presence is magnetic and memorable. Whether you're re-engaging after some time apart or maintaining that balance between presence and absence, the key is to always stay grounded in your own worth and authenticity. Mastering absence is especially powerful because it gives both you and the other person the space to reflect and grow. It's not about disappearing to play hard to get. It's about giving each other the chance to truly appreciate the value of your presence. By stepping back, you're showing that your attention is not guaranteed, but earned. This makes your connection more meaningful and ensures that when you do engage, the bond is deeper, more intentional, and more powerful. While absence creates space for longing and reflection, thoughtful re-engagement ensures that the connection doesn't fade. Each interaction should be meaningful and resonate emotionally, whether it's sharing something that made you think of him, asking about something he's passionate about, or bringing up a shared memory, you keep the conversation alive with purpose. These thoughtful touches, combined with your own vibrancy and confidence, create a rhythm that keeps the relationship fresh and exciting. Evaluating the relationship during moments of absence is just as important. Use this time to check in with yourself. How does he respond to your absence? Does he value and appreciate you? Is this relationship meeting your needs? These questions will help you determine whether you're investing in a connection that aligns with your goals and values, or whether you need to make adjustments. As we've discussed, being a high-value woman isn't about controlling someone's feelings or seeking validation. It's about knowing your worth, showing up authentically, and creating connections based on mutual respect, trust, and admiration. It's about developing a sense of self that makes you magnetic to the right people without needing to chase anyone's approval. Next steps for you: embrace your power. Understand that your presence is valuable. You don't need to seek validation outside yourself. Confidence comes from within. Use absence wisely. After meaningful interactions, give space for reflection. When you re-engage, make it intentional, thoughtful, and rooted in emotional connection. Create depth in conversations. Don't settle for surface-level exchanges. Ask meaningful questions, share emotional moments, and bring up memories that keep the connection alive. Be present but not overly available. Cultivate a balance between presence and absence. Your time is valuable, and giving it thoughtfully creates a deeper connection with those who truly value it. Reflect and reassess. Take time to reflect on your relationships. Are they aligned with your values? Are you being treated with the respect and admiration you deserve? Use the space to grow and ensure you're investing in connections that support your emotional and personal growth. As you begin to apply these insights in your life, you'll find that the small changes you make in how you engage with others can have a profound effect on how you're perceived and how you experience your relationships. Every action you take toward becoming the best version of yourself is an action toward creating stronger, more meaningful connections. Keep growing, keep refining, and remember, you are the architect of your own value. Wishing you all the best as you step confidently into your power and embrace the incredible woman you are. Keep shining, and never forget, the world needs more of the authentic you. You've got this. These tools aren't just for attracting men. They're for elevating how you engage with everyone in your life while staying authentic to yourself. But let's not forget the most important part of this process. You being a high-value woman starts with valuing yourself first. The principles of Stoicism remind us that our emotional balance, self-worth, and inner peace come from within, not from external sources. When you embody this truth, you radiate a kind of self-assuredness that makes you magnetic to the right people. The best part, you don't have to rush. Relationships aren't a sprint. They're a slow, beautiful unfolding. By being intentional with how you speak, act, and show up in the world, you're creating the foundation for something real, something enduring. When you approach your interactions with men through the lens of authenticity, respect, and confidence, you'll never have to worry about being forgotten. So, where will you begin? Will you start by adding a touch of mystery to your conversations? Or maybe you'll experiment with creating emotional moments that leave a lasting impression. Wherever you choose to start, remember that this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every step you take toward becoming the best version of yourself is a step toward building deeper, more meaningful connections. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope these insights have inspired you, challenged you, and empowered you to embrace your value in ways you never thought possible. Remember, The power to create unforgettable connections lies within you. It's time to step into that power and let the world see the incredible woman you are. Wishing you all the best as you continue to grow, connect, and thrive. You've got this.